I think Harris has made a mistake. The love of God, start.
There we go. We just had to wait for it to time out there. Howdy, 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 y'all.
I'm sorry, you're the most useless person. Anyway.
Tech is my strong suit.
Hello.
Will.
Right, let's start properly. Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever the hell you are in the world, and welcome to Sci-Trek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel, with this Muppet over here. But more importantly, my Cartier.
Hey,
how are you, sir? I think he's still muted.
Yeah, I think you're still muted there. But
no.
I think you're muted, Mark.
There we go.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, there we are.
That worked.
Supposed to be walking in the wind next. That's what you got to do.
I was saying, you guys live in the future compared to me. How has Thursday, October 3rd been for you?
Lovely. Where are you?
I'm on the West Coast. I live in Los Angeles.
Well, so does this.
Me too.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But no, for me, I've had a lovely Thursday. The work day is over. Thank God. And yes, ready to move on. But we are here to have a conversation. We are here for a reason. Because we have a sinner amongst us. Like in the Garden of Eden, this little snake has slithered his way in into the hearts of Sci-Trek, really. And Harris, I accuse thee that you have never actually watched Star Trek. Have you?
You know, it might be better to just say no, because the only Star Trek I've technically watched is the Abrams stuff. So no, I'm gonna go with no.
You're guilty. Guilty. Look, and just like Lucifer and his two faces, you come here talking of sci-fi, and really what you mean is Star Wars, which, as we all know, isn't sci-fi.
I'm the only one who's seen Wild Robot and Megalopolis so far. Come on. Come on.
Well, you know that the Star Wars that thy loves is so riddled with sin and blasphemy that it doesn't even call itself sci-fi.
Yeah, it's a space opera.
It's a space opera, my ass. So we're here today, anyway, to baptize you in the glow, warming light of a warp core, in the joy that is Star Trek, and to help you along your way into the light of goodness and away from the sins of evil.
The dark side, as you
the
say.
dark side of Science Fiction, anyway. And to do that, we brought obviously the Star Trek master. It would be a Jedi master if we were on the dark side, but you know we're not. So Mark is here to help us.
Did you just call me Obi-Wan Kenobi?
If you like.
Yeah. Watch out for melting
lightsabers or something. I don't know. But yes, we are here to help you. So first of all, Mark,
I'm excited for you, Harris, but I don't want to interrupt Jay. I know you probably got a bet you're doing or something, but I am so excited for you, Harris. I have now, you're the second person I have met who's a big cinephile who loves TV and film and has never seen any Star Trek, with a couple of glimpses here and there accepted. So I'm very excited for the journey you're about to have, because it is a magical, magical thing. And the fact that you get to experience it as an adult, you get the late onset revelation, you know?
Yeah, get to digest it a little better now. But
yeah,
waited a while to digest it.
It's like somebody finding out that like there's porn on the internet for the first time. You're just like, oh, you lucky guy! You're gonna have so much fun.
I don't know what that is. What is porn?
Oh no, I'm married too, so
I'm 25. I grew up with it. Viva LA, baby. I don't know.
I tell you what, I genuinely feel sorry for kids that have brought up in the last like 15 years, because I'm just like, you're just like psychologically, it's like,
it's interesting to say the least.
Blow my fragile little mind. Anyway, so yeah, Mark, how are you doing, sir? We've not seen you in a little while. How's life? Good. How's work? How's where?
Life is good. I've gotten into a couple of movies this year, which is fun. I hadn't done that in a couple of years.
Yeah. I got into a movie recently, Deadpool versus Wolverine. It cost me like 15 quid.
Yeah, no,
I got great seats, bit of popcorn. It's lovely.
That's good. I haven't been to a movie theater. Barbie really? Was the last movie I saw in the movie theater. I'm not sure how that happened.
Have you been like wanting to check anything out, or just kind of been working?
Oh yeah, I kind of want to see all of it. I just things have been really a lot of gears have been changing this year. Produced a couple movies, been producing a couple of movies, getting a couple more off the ground. I'm producing 2 other shows right now, and I'm launching a Star Trek show soon. I've been working on it. We've been shooting for it since March, so we've got about 20 episodes of different variations in the can, and been experimenting with it. I'm pretty excited about it.
Ooh, cool. How much can you tell us about that? Because obviously we are, other than this Muppet over here, we are Star Trek fans on this Sci-Fi channel. So how much can you say without letting the cat out of the bag?
Well, it kind of combines my love of Star Trek and my job, my profession as a producer and as a writer. So it's hard. It's funny because when I watch movies and TV shows, I see things differently. I'm looking, like, I can tell where there's a scheduling issue. I can tell where there's a looping issue. I can tell where it's like, all right, that didn't work, and they just cut the whole swath of that scene out. Just because, you know, when you sit and watch that day in and day out for 20 years, it stands out. So I figured, why not utilize that?
Does that ruin sometimes? Because I imagine people that like do CGI. There's a guy I speak to that's his profession. He's a CGI guy, and one of the things he's always saying is that it kind of ruined the magic a little bit, because he annoys his friends, and not because it like he comes away going, oh, like, you know, like seeing a magician seen behind the curtain. It's not like that, but he says he analyzes everything, and he thinks, when he sees like a clever way something's put together, he's like, oh, that's so clever. But then he's
the way they did that, or they could have done it better. That they had to get to the bar early. That they were trying to make happy hour, so they rounded a corner.
Yes, exactly. But he says he bores his friends senseless with it. Apparently, he'll come out of the cinema and he's like, oh, they did this transition shot with this, and they're just like, yeah, it was clever when the thingy went, ba-doo, ba-doo, and it's like, yeah, just let's leave it at that.
I mean, like, sometimes when a show or a movie is not that great, it can kind of ruin it, where it's like, when it becomes that's all that I see. But that's sort of one of the things that I love about Star Trek is when it starts playing, all of that goes away, and I'm a kid again, and I can immerse myself in it, and it's a happy place. So it has yet to ruin it. So that's why I'm endeavoring to ruin it
for everybody else,
for myself, and for everyone.
Does it ever do like the opposite? Have you ever watched Corridor Crew or anybody like that YouTube channel that does all the VFX artists react? Obviously, I guess CGI is kind of hard because you're in the depth of making the shot itself, but I don't know. The producing aspect is like fun sometimes where like you see those little bits and you almost get excited as much as you do like,
Oh yeah. I mean, you can see people's quality work so much easier. It's the Band-Aids and the quick fixes stand out, but also how did they pull that off? And it's mesmerizing. It's the magic of cinema has never, in fact, I think it's my appreciation for the magic of cinema has grown as I see these people pull off miracles. It's kind of, making movies and TV is really hard, and to do it well is really, really hard.
Really, yeah.
So, yeah. To answer your question, I have not seen much in the way of reaction videos. I've never gone down that rabbit hole.
I wouldn't say go into much, but if just as a film lover and someone that's a film worker as well, Corridor Crew, it's just like a small VFX house in, I guess, downtown LA. They are a fantastic little group, and they have all kinds of industry heads for CGI, animation, yada yada come in, and they have like a little green couch, and they'll just react to shots and kind of break it down like we're talking about, but get into the nitty gritty and find a way to make it fun, because totally that nitty gritty can take you out of it just as quickly as it can be fun. So they try to bridge that gap, which is great. I think you like it.
Yeah, my show is called The Search for Trek, and it's really I'm on a quest to find out what about it makes it so magical. Why can I just escape into it, and why do so many people around the world feel the same way about it? What it means to all of us.
Perfect for why we're here today, because we're helping this numpty to discover the joy of. I was thinking about this earlier, and I was thinking he's never watched Best of Both Worlds ever. But I can't imagine my childhood without that.
Yeah. That's true. I can't.
It's just there's so much. I mean, for me,
it changed television for me.
Oh yeah, TNG was just getting going. So when because I might have been a bit behind you guys because it was in the UK. I think it was a little bit behind the US, at least at first. But I was a young teenager, 12, 13, 14 sort of thing. And it was like Thursday was when the new episode dropped sort of thing. And I remember watching, I was watching it, and then all of a sudden it went back to the start. And I didn't, but I'd only been, I must have started watching it in about the third season when it finally got Sky at home. We had we had Sky television sort of thing. So we had the cable channel sort of thing. And even just that, it was like, that's a different shot. If the very first episode of TNG, it starts, it sees the Enterprise from below, and then it sort of pans up. But that sort of shot isn't really used later in like the third season sort of onwards. So the first time I saw Outpost, it had this shot, and I was just like, oh my god, it's amazing, look how this. And then I realized, oh no, it's gone back to this. So this is earlier than I've seen. But that excitement and that education, I can't imagine lacking it. And you had YouTube, Harrison. I'm just like,
I mean, I've seen a million clips, and that's probably a part of why I've never just jumped in on it. And I'm a big Star Wars and now Stargate person after the last 4 or 5 years. So it's like, all right, do I finish this Trident? And we're finishing the Trident now. I got to have something good to throw. But yeah, I don't know because Bob just commented this, and this is almost the exact thing because I know we still haven't had our Star Wars, Star Trek debate. That's kind of that's the general basis of my Star Trek debate right now. And the whole point, I think, of this little Star Trek journey, whatever star we're on, is to kind of change that, is to say, hey, it's definitely more than that if I watch it. So let's actually get past that, get into the nitty gritty like we're talking about, and figure out what makes Star Trek tick. You know, that's kind of pumped to.
Mark, it's not an easy question, but considering I'm certain you've probably thought about it quite a lot. What do you think the sort of the core things of Star Trek are that make it Star Trek? What are the things that sort of always got you, right there when you're sort of watching it?
So it's one of those shows that manages to walk that fine line between taking itself too seriously and not.
Yeah.
It managed to tackle, really big, complicated questions about what it is to be an individual or to be a member of society or a part of a group, identity, and what are the fundamental principles that we all live by? What are our morals? What are our value systems? It can tackle all of that without getting too preachy. And in the backdrop of space, when the episode of the week has, a day rate actor in a rubber mask, you can have those conversations without it sort of irking people's, especially today in the hypersensitized political world we all live in, where everyone is so eager to be offended by everyone else's opinions. I feel like it allows us to have those conversations, and it displaces that personal attachment to it, because it's in the galaxy.
Stuff goes poo, blows up.
Yes, and it's still
fun.
Hell yeah!
And
there's still warp drives and photon torpedoes and Kirk shoulder diving with ridiculous looking phaser rifles. It's amazing.
Karate chopping and Gorn. The original series was just, and say I grew up with TNG, so that was my thing. I'd watched Star Trek, the original series, when I was a bit younger, but I don't think I ever really fully appreciated it. It was TNG, but then Deep Space Nine came along, and I'd have been about 14 maybe, and that just rocked my fragile little mind. Didn't love it in the first season. I found it a little boring, but then the Dominion War really kicked in. By the third season, I was the same with Voyager. I didn't love Voyager first 2 seasons, but then they had the whole Scorpion episodes. 7 of 9 came into it, and it really kicked off after that. And again, the Borg came into it. It got a bit more interesting, and a bit more exciting.
That's a phenomenon I've talked about a lot with a lot of different people. People involved in Star Trek, fans of the show. The idea that whatever your gateway Trek was, that to you is Star Trek, and it always takes a second to get into the other iterations, because of the little differences.
I think any really good show as well, which is why Netflix frustrates the hell out of me at times, because they cancel shows too quick. That a lot of really good shows take a season or 2 to get their legs. Even TNG, the first season. And it was halfway through the second, I think. And basically, when they killed off Tasha, they moved Geordi down into engineering, even though he had no qualifications to do so. And they realised actually a Klingon as the tactical officer was probably a good idea. And they just rejigged the show slightly, but it worked and it kicked on to the next level. And don't get me wrong, it was already good. And we'd had episodes like Conspiracy and things that were just so good. But it kicked on to that next level. If I rewatch TNG now, I might skip quite a bit of the first season. But I will happily watch from halfway through season 2 onwards. And I'm just basically waiting for Tasha to die. As soon as Tasha dies, I'm like, right, I'm in.
It is difficult to endure that first season of The Next Generation.
Yeah.
But only because it didn't know what it was, And I've put this theory out there. I believe in my heart of hearts that Star Trek: The Next Generation season 1 is really Star Trek: The Original Series season 4.
I mean, Roddenberry was heavily involved.
Roddenberry was very heavily involved, and it was he was trying to do his thing again, and for better or for worse, and they weren't having any of it over at Paramount.
Yeah.
Again, also for better or for worse. For me, Q Who, the episode where the Borg first show up. That's the first groundbreaking episode in that show where it's like, whoa, this is a special show. And from there, it takes off to become the magical ride that it is. Yesterday's Enterprise, I also think, was one of those early season 2, season 3 episodes, early season episodes that shook the world for me.
Well, again, because you're so bloody clever. And I know, Harris, you have no clue what we're talking about, but it was a timey-wimey episode, Yesterday's Enterprise.
Cool.
And basically, the Enterprise B came back from the past. And Tasha came back. No, Tasha went. Yeah, Tasha came back. But that was one of those things that it flipped what I understood. There's some episodes of Star Trek, even Next Generation in particular, and Deep Space Nine and Voyager, to be fair, they're just going through the motions. You know, it's formulaic to a point. You know, it's like, this is okay. We're doing a Star Trek episode this week, or we're doing a character episode. Data's going to get a cat. There we go. That's our episode. And then a virus will attack the.
I kind of like those, like, letter to my friends episodes, a day in the life of the character episodes.
I love those because it gives you a bit more about. I actually watched. I was watching this your show, and it was. I think it was Brannon Braga talking about how you'd have to sort of, because the intensity of the show was like, do it like this. Something like, and it was just exhausting. So occasionally you had to sort of, you do these little focused episodes, and it just kind of gives everyone else a rest, but also it's character development, and you know, you get so. But Brent Spiner was talking on Michael Rosenberg's Stormy, and the one episode he got like 40. It was his episode that week. It was a data episode, and like the night before he got like 40 pages, and he was like, I've got to learn this by tomorrow. And it's just like, yeah, we're filming at 6. So it was the Enterprise C, bada bing. Sorry, you're right.
I actually want to say something about Yesterday's Enterprise, because you, Jay, I don't know about you, Harris, but I know you, Jay, you love Stargate.
Yes,
I love Stargate.
Yeah, he's at Stargate.
Oh, great. Okay, so you're both unhealthily obsessed with Stargate, which is my kind of people.
But of course,
Yesterday's Enterprise is one of those Star Trek episodes that feels like more like a Stargate episode.
Yeah.
Not just because of the wormhole or the time portal or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
But it had that sort of tone.
I'm pretty sure there are Stargate episodes that are a bit similar. I'm telling Harris, when you watch it,
go back and forth a little.
A couple of Star, and I actually talked to Brad about this. And he actually said, he goes, yeah, sometimes you're inspired by other sci-fi. And there are other episodes you can point to as Stargate specifically and go, that is an episode that's inspired by The Matrix or something else. I mean, you could do that with most sci-fi, but with Stargate, you could pick out the odd episode. You can pick out the odd Star Trek episode. When you'll watch them and you'll think, this reminds me of something. And it's because it'll be a Stargate SG-1 episode. Because that one of the things Brad said is one of his biggest disappointments in sort of his career was he never got to write a Star Trek episode. He desperately wanted to. And there are episodes where you think, yeah, that's a bit. But I think maybe that's why I love TNG so much, because when that was up there, you didn't have those episodes. And I think about episodes like Deep Space Nine. I've forgotten the name of it now. I do know the name of it. Oh, it's going to annoy me. Somebody in the comments will tell me as soon as I say. But when it's Cisco and he's talking to the camera the whole way through, and it ends, it's Whisper or Shadow or something, the title. And he talks in the cap, and the whole Romulan thing has happened. It's a really intense episode, and every so often you get maybe 2 or 3 of those episodes a season of Star Trek where you just go, "Holy crap! What did I just watch?" That was just. They're just like ground broken. And nowadays, I don't think they can do it so much, because nowadays the only way to do that is with shock factor. It's like Game of Thrones. Somebody's head's got to get crushed, or you've got to have the Red Wedding or something like that to really like shock you. But Star Trek was just doing it with just really, really good sci-fi and really good acting. And in the Pale Moon Night, thank you, Bada Bing. You're on fire tonight, mate. Thank you, sir. Yeah. It's just. And for me, TNG did it. The first episode that really blew my mind with TNG was Conspiracy. it was just such a good episode of Star Trek, and it was properly as well, like pew 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 as well. Like
that's the end of the first season, right?
The first season episode. It's towards the end of this first season, and it's the bug thing in the conspiracy. Yeah, and it is properly like the Federation. At that point, we were all supposed to be all. Oh, it's investigating, it's explore, and then there's this thing that basically crawls up people's butts and takes over their minds. And you see Picard just goes, "No, don't like it," and it explodes.
I'd probably do the same from the sounds of it.
Yeah. Sci-fi Quest wishes you'd correct me when I said the Enterprise B. All right, it was the C. What was the captain's name? I know.
So TNG is Picard. Deep Space Nine is...
Oh, God, I forgot you were a complete muppet when it comes to Star Trek.
Janeway? I know she's somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, how about this? Let's test your captain's knowledge. The original series. Who's the captain?
William Shatner.
In the very first episode.
And what's the character's name?
Pike, in the very first episode.
It's the easiest name in the world that I know it. Obviously, I just can't think of it on the spot at the second.
It's actually one kind of iconic.
I know. It's killing me. I was playing cards and talking Stargate yesterday too. Captain, skip it. I'll come back to it. I wouldn't get it. I can't.
Who's the captain of the animated series?
I mean, do you even know there was an animated series?
Is that Lower Decks or Prodigy?
In the 70s. It's from the 70s. Yeah. It's called Star Trek: The Animated Series.
Yeah. No, I doubt you even know that's it happened.
All right.
We're going to go. We'll come back to that in a second then.
I'll give you Picard. You already said that. Deep Space Nine. Who's the captain in that one?
I know there's Janeway, but I don't think that's Deep Space Nine.
Nope.
Okay. James Kirk. Damn it. Okay, I had to look over there. I was like, it's the easiest thing. Okay.
This is why I knew it. We are here to educate you.
No, but this is good. You know, pain is growth.
Because Chris Pine is also Kirk, but he's not James Kirk.
He is.
He is James.
It's the different actor playing the same character
in a different universe,
in an alternate timeline. Yeah. But yeah, that's far afield at the moment.
And then there's a new James T. Kirk as well, but he's a vampire. I don't know his name, but
Vampire. Oh, that's right.
Diaries.
Yes, Paul Wesleyan. Is that his name?
Okay.
Yeah.
To be honest, mate, he could come in and make me tea, and I wouldn't know who he was.
If Captain Goodwill from Nerdy Up North was here, he'd know.
Yeah, but I think so. We're on our third Kirk anyway. Harris to help complicate things, and
that's not Spock. Anson Mount. Anson Mount's not your third Kirk.
Anson Mount is our third.
He's our second Pike.
Third
Pike. Okay.
Is your third Pike?
Third Pike, because you've got the original series Pike.
Yeah.
With the melted face and and obviously the pilot episode, and then obviously you've got the movie Pike, J.J. Abrams Pike.
You're right. The J.J. Abrams movies. Yep, well done.
And then Anson Mount is the third Pike, and his hair is the fourth Pike.
Yes,
and the fifth Pike. Other credit, and the fifth Pike, and in the third series, it's going whoa, like proper Johnny Bravo, fifth Pike. So yeah.
Anson Mount is Johnny Bravo. I'd take that any day, honestly. Give me a Johnny Bravo.
Oh, mama.
Okay, I read Archer. Archer is old Bakula, huh?
So, all the way through Star Trek, they say that the Enterprise is the first of her name, but then they decided to do a prequel series after Voyager. So they had a new Enterprise that nobody had ever mentioned before in a prequel episode, but it's an NX-01, so it's not really the Enterprise. It's an experimental vessel. It's a Warp 5 capable Enterprise.
Yeah. Okay.
Captained by Captain Archer, who was acted by Scott Bakula. So that's an inside sidetrack joke. I'm just wondering how long it takes anybody to remember. From a long time ago.
I love it.
Scott Bakula. No, it is Bakula, like Dracula.
Yeah, it's Dracula.
Yeah, not Bakula. No, got it wrong. Anyway. But yes, those are our captains.
what
And,
else is
and
there?
Sci-Fi Quest got it right a minute ago. It was Captain Garrett of the Enterprise C.
Yes.
I got one. I was pretty happy about that, but that was an easy one because I know that's my starting point. So, okay, we got Janeway, Picard, Pike, and Archer, and Kirk.
Yeah.
Who else? Or I guess what other series?
Captain Hawk.
So we got the original series. We've got the animated series. We've got the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, Discovery, Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, Prodigy. Then you've got the original series movies, the Next Generation movies, and the J.J. Abrams alternate universe, Chris Pine as Kirk movies. And then you've got Star Trek Picard as well.
Yeah, we got Picard. So let's try to do that in chronological order because that's
did you tell Mark my crazy idea?
Yeah, so this Muppet wants to watch it in chronological order. And I've tried to explain to him that he's going to struggle. So chronologically,
yes,
we start with Discovery.
Because there's some
Enterprise.
Weird overlap. Oh.
Yeah. So we start with Enterprise. And then we go into Discovery. And then we go into the original series. No, then we go into Strange New Worlds.
Enterprise,
and then we go
Discovery, Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, well, Discovery Part 1. Because Discovery's going to come back into this house.
Oh, that's right.
This is complicated.
Yeah, season 4 and 5 will come back at the very end.
Yeah. So then we go into Strange New Worlds, which hasn't finished yet. So you're going to have to think about that. And then we go into the original series from the 60s. Okay. Then we go into the Next Generation. Deep Space Nine and Voyager.
But if you're including the movies, you're going to have to throw in a bunch of movies in between those two. Yeah.
I'm anal about chronology. I know it's crazy, but I'm dead set on it.
I forgot about the movies. The movies from the original.
I mean, if he not to add another layer of complication, but if he's doing it chronologically, does that mean he's got to watch Time's Arrow first, followed by Star Trek 4 before he gets to Enterprise? Yeah,
he does. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're gonna watch them chronologically, you've got to watch the movies. Enterprise, then the movies. The Trek movies, the original movies. Aye. But when you get to Enterprise, to TNG season 5, you have to start watching Voyager. And then when you get to season 3 of Voyager, you have to start watching Deep Space Nine as well.
Okay.
No, the other way around.
SG-1 action almost.
5 of TNG, you have to start watching Deep Space Nine, and then you have to start watching Voyager.
Yeah.
Then it gets really complicated.
TNG and DS9 overlap, so you're gonna have to figure out the episode order. And then the end of DS9 and Voyager it's the same. You're gonna have to episode order it.
And they do reference each other at times, so I do actually have to do it. Right, but then we get into sort of like, and then you watch the J.J. Abrams movies whenever you like, because they're not Star Trek. And then you have to watch Lower Decks, because before you watch Picard, so Lower Decks, then Prodigy, and then Picard. I think Lower Decks and Prodigy are probably about the same time frame, aren't they? Because Janeway is older, but
I would say it's not cheating to watch one before the other and not worry about.
I don't think they reference each other particularly. So you have a Prodigy. Then you have to watch Picard, and then you have to watch the last 2 seasons of Discovery.
Booyah!
That sounds right.
Or
it's gonna be a lot, but I'm ready.
Or don't be stupid and watch it in the route that it was actually produced.
Yes, that would be my recommendation. I mean, having had this discussion now, it does seem like a really fun nerd game to figure out how to watch it. But I promise you, you will fail. You will get to an episode and be like, oh, shit, this happened before. I should have watched this before, and now I broke the whole reason why I'm doing this. I have failed. Maybe I should have just watched it in publishing in air date order.
The bonus, though, is that you have to watch Discovery quite early on, the first 2 seasons of Discovery. You can get it out of the way.
Hey.
And
oh, come on, you and your hatred of New
season
Trek.
of Discovery is
Weren't the dancing
awful.
Klingons later? Like, aren't the early ones?
All
good
Trek
ones?
is good Trek.
Okay, cool.
Hashtag
no,
all
we
Trek
have this
is
argument.
good Trek.
We have this argument when we talk about Stargate as well. A bad episode of Stargate, we're only talking about it relative to other Stargate, not relative to other sci-fi or other things, because Stargate is Stargate. And Star Trek is the same. I will happily watch not the first season. I'm separating the first season of Discovery from this because that is bloody awful.
Oof,
but
Michael. Oh heavens.
Other than the first season of Discovery,
We did get a quick super chat real quick. Michael Nemo said, you should really watch Trek in release order so that steady decline after 2005 is more apparent. I don't want to feel the decline. I'd rather there be an ebb and flow, maybe. Okay, I know I've not heard a single soul say don't or watch it in chronological order. Everyone says watch it in release date or has their own specific way they want to do it.
Don't do it.
Part of that makes me want to do that much more. Because
My
Stargate
father used
Star
to
Wars,
say, if you want Marky to do something, you better not tell him he has to. So
yeah,
I feel you.
Well,
it's just
I've
going
done
to be
Star
very
Wars
confusing.
chronologically, and Star Wars chronologically. Once you get into like the Clone Wars episodes, and you're like, this episode's before season 3, and it's in season 5 or whatever it is. You're just like, okay, well, picking each episode, going back and forth. I've done it before. I guess I'll do it again. And I just know y'all are going to create an animal after this. I am an encyclopedia of just grabbing random BS and sponging off of like IP stuff. So
I mean, if you go into it with the mindset that you are trying to discover the roadmap, if you're constructing a roadmap, and when you get to an episode and you're like, oh shoot, I should have watched this before because somebody mentioned Q. There are other weird episodes where they go way far back or way far into the future. And you are doing it to construct the roadmap for other people to follow you. That could be fun. That would serve a practical utility.
A good video after it as well, Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's all content. I think the problem you're going to have doing it chronologically is that they might not necessarily. They'll do an episode that was produced, say, in the last couple of years that references something, and then they might half explain it, but they won't explain it. And you're going to be there going, what the hell are they talking about? And you're not going to appreciate it because you won't have watched the episode they're referencing.
Will it make me appreciate whenever the episode they're referencing comes up? Will it make me appreciate that more by chance?
Right. Well, if we've got to remember, there were 7 seasons of 24 episodes of the TNG. So do that math. And then there's the same for Voyager and the same for Deep Space Nine. There was 2 seasons of the original series. So that's not too bad. I suppose it's 40 episodes. But you're talking like over 1,000 episodes of Star Trek. So if you can remember it, yeah. But what they do reference is quite major things that happen. They don't just reference some filler episode that nobody.
Yeah.
Remember that time that Picard had a cup of coffee spilt on him? Well, we all do actually, because then that incident was never seen again. So
yes, she was.
Yeah, actually, she was. Actually, you're right.
She was a captain. She came back as a captain in Lower Decks.
Was it this? Does that really count? Because weren't they actually then making a joke that actual joke that she was never seen again in that episode of Lower Decks?
Maybe
that her career had been ruined because she.
Well, didn't her character come back for a couple of episodes, but played by a different actress?
I
think her character was in a couple of episodes after that.
Yeah, there was something with LaForge, wasn't there? I think that there was just it ruins the meme there, though, Mark. If you come up with the actually put the reality, because the joke is she spilled coffee and then she was never seen again. But anyway.
Well, we did get another quick super chat from Michael Nemo.
Okay.
He said a hot take, Harris. Watched Trek completely at random. Star Trek Discovery, Episode 3, Season 3, then Deep Space Nine, Season 7, Episode 2, then Wrath of Khan. That sounds fun too, but just because I've never done it, I'm going chronological because I'm crazy.
Star Trek Into Darkness is going to make a lot more sense, and you're going to be like, Benedict Cumberbatch is a better actor than that. When you go back and actually see the Khan episodes and then watch Wrath of Khan. So have you never even watched any of like the William Shatner Star Trek movies? None of them.
Not the movies. I'm sure I've seen an episode or two, just like growing up on the back of the TV or on just on cable or whatever. But
Yeah,
I don't know. Nothing that like stands out in my memory per se.
you know what? Some terrible episodes of the original series. Some
Uh-oh.
fantastic episodes as well. I mean, I think in the episode again, I can't remember the name of it. Sorry, but the black and white face episode. Oh my god, it's beautifully done. There's basically these the aliens. Anybody that says like, when did Star Trek start talking about racism and stuff? You know, from day one. There's these characters basically their skin tone is black on one side and white on the other. But the one character he's asking for asylum because his face is black on the other side, basically, so he's different.
Yeah.
So half the population is black on this side and white on this side, and the other half is just the opposite.
Yeah,
and they're getting into a civil war over it.
So not subtle about racism, but my God,
that's
it's a good
smart. Episode. Yeah, that's good. That's a good way of. It sounds like it's a good way of exploring the topic.
Yeah. But then there's another episode where Spock gets his brain stolen, so they hook up a remote control system and remote control walk him around the building. So, well, no, actually, the only episode of Star Trek that I actually think actually makes me cringe, and it does make me cringe, is when they had the musical interlude with the guys with the like.
I love the. It's called Rhapsody Space Rhapsody or something like that. It's a TOS.
No,
it's
not the
Strange New Worlds episode.
No. In the original series, I hate that episode as well. But in the original series, I was just a bit of one of the episodes, and Ensign Uhura sings, and actually,
that episode is Charlie X. It's Spock is playing his Vulcan harp, and Uhura sings a song about Spock looking like a devil and breaking women's hearts.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I hated Strange New World, the Rhapsody episode. I don't.
I loved it. It was fun. It was so fun. No, I loved it.
I know these
I'm a big ham for musicals as well, so I was like, hey, why not?
I love a musical, but what generally musicals have is good songs.
Shit! Look at you.
Yeah, I know. I like a musical. I love a musical.
I'm still not convinced you like musicals. The only good one I've ever heard to speak anything like goodwill on was Wonka. But that one deservedly so. Surprisingly deservedly so.
Yeah, the brand new Wonka I loved. But the original Wonka with Gene Wilder is gold. I do like it. I do like an occasional musical. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be watching Songs of Praise. No, what is it? Sound of Music at Christmas. That's not for me. But what was that one with Ewan McGregor a couple of years ago? That was good. I like that.
There was a Ewan McGregor musical a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Well, no, it was probably like 20 years ago now, to be honest. Yeah. I quite liked it. I remember
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. Yeah. Nicole Kidman. It's actually a Nicole Kidman movie.
Yeah.
Well, Ewan McGregor was there.
Sure he was.
That was just the first name that popped into my head, that Ewan McGregor was in it, because it was weird that Ewan McGregor was in a musical. But
in the same way that Yeoman Rand was there, she was there.
Well, yeah, lots of people were there. But another musical I love was the Chicago, the one with
Catherine Zeta-Jones. What's her face? Chicago is fantastic.
The Mr. Transparent, Mr. Cellophane is just such a good. But I mean, they're going to take that Star Trek, Deep Space, Subspace Rhapsody to the West End. And I'm telling you what, other than the Nurse Chapel song, which I actually did quite like, I thought it was quite a good song, the rest of the songs are awful. They're telling it, they're not memorable. This isn't, bloody Cats or something, is it?
I was about to say, Jay's Hell is just sitting in a bunch of musicals, and it starts off with a 24-hour marathon of Cats.
No, I like Cats. I've seen Cats live. I like a musical, but it is all taste. It is all taste. I wouldn't have mind Subspace Rhapsody, and I keep saying this, if it was a Christmas special or something. It was just that it was an episode unnecessary, and I felt it was like there's like precious Stargate real estate. We only get 10 episodes of this, and it just felt like they wasted one of them with a musical when they'd already had sort of a silly crossover episode, which was brilliant. When they brought the Lower Decks characters, which is a cartoon, and they brought the characters into a real life.
Those old scientists. That's remarkable.
Same actors, or?
Yeah. Oh, the actual actors that voiced the characters.
Oh, that's cool.
They brought them in through this portal thing that made them like solid, and they did a whole. And it's brilliant. It's a quirky episode. It's funny as hell. And I love those sorts of episodes. I just don't want too many. So then when they then had a musical as well, it was like, oh, come on, we've done this. Move on. Do it as a Christmas special.
Well, real quick, David said, here's a challenge for Harris. Get all the Trek watched before Star Trek Academy starts. I saw that coming a second ago, and now I'm laughing to myself because there's totally going to be a episode of Academy. And
well, they're filming Academy at the moment. It's just, oh God, they've been filming it for about a month. So, yeah, you might struggle. But it'll probably take it'll be at least a year until it's on our screens, maybe 18 months. It'll be about a year, I think.
Do you know where they're filming it? Because I know the old Star Trek Academy is like the Japanese Gardens in Van Nuys, like right around the corner from me.
You might get a bit of that. You might get it. Yeah, no, it's in the same place. It's Vancouver, Mark. You remind me, is it Canada? Where they film Star Trek at the moment. It's at the CBS
Toronto.
Studios. Toronto, not Vancouver, thank you. So, yeah, it's all to but they're bound to go to there. Yeah, because there's that one famous.
I was trying to think of a funny response to Michael Nemo.
Yeah, Mark. Michael just sent another $5.
I wanted to write a joke about how fun it is to be lazy, but I couldn't think of anything that didn't sound snarky.
It's lazy, it's valid, all Trek sucks.
I'm just one of those people that happens to love all Star Trek. And you know, I love the positive environment of that mindset. You know, I don't. My love of Star Trek is such that it's an escape from the negativity in the world, from the hard shit I got to deal with day in and day out, and you know, life everywhere we all have to deal with. So I made a very conscious decision to let it be my happy space. So
and why not? Everyone should have.
And why not?
That safe space.
Yeah.
And all of you are welcome to shit on it, and I'll play my part and defend it. So that's fun. we all serve a purpose.
I feel exactly the same way. I just have a caveat of I hate Discovery Season 1 of them, but
yes.
But it comes from.
I'm aware of this.
It does come from a place of love, though. It's not. I get disappointed because I have such high expectations.
This is where the gateway Trek theory comes back into play, because Star Trek to you is TNG and sort of those series around it and inspired by, or that grew from it or inspired it. I can see how Discovery would be such a disappointment for you. You know, I totally understand people saying, "What the hell? Why am I watching?" They didn't look like Klingons. They looked like
plasticine models.
What the hell are those monsters? Not Igors. Warhammer.
Starcraft. Like the pig teeth. Trolls or something, or
orcs.
Or orcs. Thank you.
Yeah. They actually did have that almost sweaty, shining thing going on as well. So yeah, they did look like orcs. Yeah, you're right.
I thought it was an interesting take. I wasn't gonna get all upset about it. Same thing with the J.J. Abrams Klingons. You know, and I kind of understand that instinct that filmmakers have in trying to infuse their own sort of creative vision, like take what it meant to them and push it further that direction. I don't begrudge them that. Yeah, but I do understand people are like, these are not my Klingons. This is not my show.
I like what Ars just said there. Discovery is proof that love is blind. I like that.
Oh, love is blind.
So sweet.
I love love.
I do. Yeah. I say, and I still have that thing of there's bits of the modern Trek, the Kurtzman Trek, that I'm not a fan of, and I as far as I'm concerned, I will express my opinion. Disagree with me, that's one thing, but it's opinion. What does upset me is well again, I for a dramatic effect will sort of go, Discovery, because we're on a show, it's interesting, and everything. But let's be honest, off here, I don't think about it twice. I won't think about it. It's not like if somebody came around and slapped my wife in the face, that would actually upset me, and I would do something about it.
I'm glad you said that.
Well, yeah. I'd be like, give him his $5, thank you.
Oh, that's terrible.
I couldn't do it. But here's your $5.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like it's not upset in real life. It's but it's frustrating, and we over exaggerate these things. But some people actually do act like this is like Discovery came around and slapped their wife in the face, and I just think you need to calm down. And then when they start, and they do this for every franchise has those extreme fans. So Star Wars does, Lord of the Rings does.
That is say.
And they all do, but Trek is divided. There is really, unlike new Trek, is really divisive. I mean,
and there's really good reasons.
Yeah,
I mean, when people say, "Look what Kurtzman said about reimagining Star Trek with the launch of Discovery," and it's like, yeah, I agree with you. That's kind of shitty. That's a shitty way to shake up a franchise that is so beloved by so many people, to put someone in charge who's like, I think he said something along the lines of, I want to make a show that my wife will watch, and my wife, and then he made some like, my wife likes Law and Order or something like that, and it's like, all right, well, maybe you should consider what the fans want to watch.
Yeah, maybe a different franchise might be a good idea then.
And maybe he was just taken. Maybe he was just taken out of context. I don't know. The one thing I will say about the new Trek is, so much of it is made by genuine fans of the show who grew up adoring the show. Lower Deck, Picard, season 3 especially.
Yep.
Strange New Worlds. The way they really try to honor how things were done with the original series, and they modernized it but kept that flair. I think it's
the
magical.
design of the bridge. Sorry, the design of the bridge is a really good example of that. It's modern and it's new and it's thing, but you can see just bits of the original. They really did put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I liked it. And to be fair to Discovery did respond accordingly to the fans, and they tried to rein it in. They tried to redirect it. They brought on new creatives to sort of give it that Star Trek jazz, and I think they were in a lot of ways successful. Do I think it's a perfect show? No, I think it was more of an experimental show. I think it was a show designed to try to recruit a new audience.
It almost got me. I almost started watching Star Trek when Discovery came out, because I like Sonequa Martin Green a lot, especially from The Walking Dead.
It's a great actress.
Great actress.
She's got one of those faces, and when she smiles, you know what I mean? Her whole face just smiles.
Just makes you smile. Yeah.
You can't help but just go, "Aw."
The reason you hire her, that's a good face to have in this industry.
Great actress.
But what, real quick, what's that captain's name? What's her captain?
Oh, well, she had many captains. So Discovery had a thing. Discovery did a thing like
Discovery is like the Doctor Who of Star Trek.
Yeah, they had a different captain every season. Now I was trying to think. It was like, in Harry Potter, the dark arts teacher. There was a different one every year because it was like it was cursed. The Discovery captain was cursed. There was a different captain. Was she? No, she wasn't. Was she? She wasn't captain 2 seasons. Was she captain seasons 4 and 5?
Green.
Yeah.
4 and 5.
She was captain. Only 5. Yeah, so it's a different captain every season. But
because it's what's her face?
It's Giorgio.
Giorgio, thank you.
The greatest. Oh,
yeah. Then it's
the
British. What's his name?
Yeah, he's a British actor, very good actor. Turned
very
out
good.
To be,
and he's great
an evil version.
To know the Brits, Jay.
Yeah, I should know his name. I will know. I'd know it if I saw it, but I don't know.
And then it's Christopher Pike.
Yeah, no, it was Pike.
Played by Anson Mount.
Yeah. It's quite clever the way they do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very clever. And then
randomly broke down.
And then it's Captain Saru. Yes, thank you.
And Saru
and,
for 4.
and then it's Captain.
He was captain in season 3. Saru was 4, wasn't he? I don't think I ever watched season 3 because Giorgio was captain again, wasn't she, for a bit?
Giorgio and what's his face were season 1. Pike was season 2.
Lorca.
Saru was season 3. And Barnum is 4 and 5.
Oh,
Lorca. Thank you. It's that guy. Lorca.
Yeah, Lorca. Yeah.
Hey, is this a spoiler-free zone?
Yeah,
not necessarily. There's 1,000 episodes. I'll get back to it one way or another.
Yeah.
So no, not spoiler free. So go for it if you want to.
Yeah. No, he won't remember anyway.
Yeah.
Harris doesn't really pay attention.
No, not really.
I'll pay attention.
He's Generation Y, as in Y. So it's
Generation.
Generation I'm in.
Generation. I want it now. I don't want to wait. I want it now.
Right between.
So why Harris did you decide to do this? Why did you decide after all these years to finally watch Star Trek? Is there?
I can answer that.
Is it because
we picked on him?
Yeah, you were peer
part
pressure
of
to
that.
do it.
And I've kind of taken a little bit more of a kind of had to jump in and help a little bit more with live streams on Sidetrack and do a bunch of other stuff. So I might as well be making some videos and do some other stuff as well. And if I've got 2/3 of the Trident and I'm the guy going to see movies all the time, talk about all the modern stuff, I should be able to talk about one of the big cornerstones of the channel, I think. And it's fun. And I've always poo-pooed it for years because I've always been a Star Wars fan, and that's just like that little like constant debate that there is. And I can always still have the debate with myself if I know both sides better. So might as well jump in and figure it out. Honestly,
I think you're gonna love it. There's a lot of duds, but if you get into the spirit of it, it'll be a lot of fun. And you'll always have something to watch. You'll never be like, "What should I watch tonight?"
Oh yeah, and they want to do Doctor Who.
For years, you're gonna have something to watch.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
The fun thing is, at least I'll have people to watch it with every time too. Obviously, it's going to be because we're going to be doing watch parties for it. So
great. So Harris, I've started doing this myself. I just started doing something called Run the Franchise, where we're watching all of Star Trek. We are watching it in production order, air date order. Mm-hmm. So we're only a couple episodes into the original series. And we're playing AI generated trivia afterwards. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff. We're handing out like Amazon gift cards for people. It's a lot of fun. And we should invite you to a couple of them. If you're going to do it in chronological order or randomly, it would be fun to have you there.
Yeah, I will definitely be doing chronological. So
we did the math. It's going to take us 8 years to get through it, how we're doing it.
Glorious. What in 8 years, though. What in 8 years.
Okay, but y'all do like one episode at a time, huh? If I had to guess.
Yes.
Okay. There very well may be some watch parties where I get through 2 or 3 episodes.
That's just a crack on.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
If your schedule allows for that.
Yeah. If I got an afternoon or I don't have to do anything, or couple hours on a Saturday or something.
And when you like Discovery, Strange New Worlds, these newer series, you can actually binge them in a weekend.
Yeah, that's right, because there are only
10 episodes now.
Yeah. Okay. So Enterprise is still the 22, though, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got a little bit to get through. Cool.
Yeah. I said, like Enterprise. There's a random episode halfway through Enterprise that if you haven't watched a TNG movie, will make no freaking sense. At all. And there's an episode called Regeneration, just a Borg episode, that if you haven't seen Star Trek First Contact, you will have no clue what is going on.
There will be. Yeah, Jay is kind of right. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you miss.
Okay.
Or it doesn't make sense, or it'll lose the narrative thread, the narrative weight that it carried if you watch it in air date order, because it's story building on story.
Of
and
course, yeah.
they, you know, even when they're retconning, it makes like they
They try to make it make sense.
They try to make it make sense.
Okay.
So you miss a lot of the narrative impact of some of the more important moments. Specifically, Borg are the perfect example. You know, kind of backing your way into the Borg loses how the awesomeness that are the Borg, because it was that slow, suspenseful burn of who they are and where they're from, and how we encountered them, and why we encountered them, and when we encountered them, and all of that plays on it, layers like a delicious story cake. So I would be sad for you to lose that.
Okay,
but
cool.
You know, if you're doing it for fun and content, well, there you go. It would be.
Oh, and with a chronological, I guess, way of doing it, I can write down the episodes that I am confused about or want to go back and watch after the fact and say, oh, okay, so this does make so much more sense doing that, and so on and so forth. I'm hoping that their workarounds make it make sense for me while I'm watching it.
I just know I'm going to be getting a lot of texts from you going, what the bloody hell is a blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, right, watch this episode. Blah, blah, blah.
You're going to text back. It's 4 a.m. in England right now.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, yeah. That's what you mean. Stop waking me up in the middle of the night. Watch episode.
Yes, Scott, I agree. It will be the flip side will be a different version of the ooh ah. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
I'm confused, but yeah, go for it. Why not? There's just
Harris, you really upset Jay, and maybe that's the point.
a little bit.
Maybe a tad.
That's funny.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'd be really interested as well as if you notice, because you're gonna have to watch some of the new Trek and then go back and watch some of the original, some of the all the old Trek, because I know there are certain. I know we talk about canon on here a lot and stuff that they've changed over the years, but it's a different show and they have slightly different rules or ways of doing it and presenting it. So it will be interesting to see what you think when you're then comparing them quite starkly, because you'll have watched, say, the first couple of seasons of Discovery, and then you've got to flip to not the original series, but no, you'll have to flip to the original series.
Yeah.
So
the newest stuff
Strange New Worlds. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what you think if it's confusing in the respect of the rules change on certain things, and so but it'll be over a big line, so you might not even notice. It's more this way the style, but obviously a new show is going to be styled differently.
Yeah, maybe because obviously everyone that is y'all and then everybody's commenting, y'all are thinking about it all kind of at once, because that's just how your memory is all in that one spot. Maybe it will be easier because I am digesting it over that longevity, but we'll see.
You've got the joy of watching a Star Trek movie though, where they go and find God. You've got that joy ahead of you. It's brilliant. And the Star Trek 5 is generally considered. Traditionally, people sort of really slag it off, and it is not great in a few places, but in bits, it's so good. There are bits of it that I think you'll just appreciate, because you're not going to be carrying any of that like Trek baggage with you that sometimes us older Trekkies sort of maybe do get a little bit stressed out about. But I rewatched the Star Trek movies recently and did a couple of videos on, and I watched Star Trek 5 in the thing of, oh God. And then I come out of it and I'm going, my God, that's so much better than I remember, other than a couple of bits in it that are like not quite. But Uhura dancing at the top of the sand dune and stuff, I'm thinking, oh good Lord. But I know the ship like the back of my hand. Yeah, just brilliant. Oh, just glorious. But
I know this ship like the back of my hand.
Yeah, bonk out. But in that bit, like,
I need my pain. Excuse me. What does God need with a starship?
Yeah, exactly. It's brilliant.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
But DeForest Kelley as an actor, it blew my mind. He's so good. There's this whole bit in it where there's a Vulcan mate, and he's he's sort of like brainwashing everyone in a way and getting them on. So it's like
Spock's half brother shows up,
Yeah.
and he's got emotions, which is weird for Vulcan. And his whole shtick is he's running around like a snake oil salesman, taking people's emotions or taking their pain away.
He's an energy
to take your pain away. Yeah. So then he sort of like uses his telepathy to sort of bring the person back.
Space
to the
crystals
point that made their pain. And DeForest Kelley does this whole scene, and like honestly, it's just 100%. I never realized how such a good actor he is. And actually, I went back and looked at other stuff he'd done non-Star Trek, and he was a great actor. But there's bits in that movie that are phenomenal, and you get to watch it in Undiscovered Country, which for me will always be my favorite Star Trek movie. And I'm so jealous you get to see it for the first time.
I'm pumped. Obviously,
which one is your favorite?
Undiscovered Country.
Yes. My favorite.
Yeah, it's only because though that was the movie I got to see the cinema the first time. I've told this story on here loads of times, but I skived off school.
I think you and I have talked about this. Yes,
yeah,
that was the same way. This is the first Star Trek movie I got to watch in the theater by myself.
Yeah, I actually went on my own in my school uniform, and I don't know how anybody didn't go. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock, weren't you, at school? But I just went in, watched it on my own. One other bloke in the cinema, and I watched, and I just. Oh.
And you said that's the fifth one? No,
that was Undiscovered Country is the sixth one.
Okay, that's after.
Star Trek 5 is when they found God.
Okay.
When you watch,
they found God at the center of the galaxy, which is very stupid.
Yeah. You have to go science. No, I won't worry about that. But back then, they didn't actually know that the center of our galaxy is a load of supermassive black holes. They didn't know that back then. So we'll just go.
Yeah, so they called it the Great Barrier.
Yeah.
No ship that's ever crossed the Great Barrier has ever returned. No probe has ever come back. No ship has ever returned.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't like any of the galactic barrier episodes have always kind of made me go, and Where No Man Has Gone Before in season 1 of the original series, they get to the edge of the galaxy. They've arrived at the edge of the galaxy, and there's a great pink energy field there. It's a barrier. And they try to go into it, and the ship gets electrocuted, and anyone with ESP gets supercharged into being Q, basically superhumans.
I was going to ask if the God stuff had stuff to do with the Q, because I know Q's not the equivalent of Stargate's ancients, but like they are compared and people
similar. Yeah, they are similar. There has been debate over the years on what that being was, and there is another being we see in the original series that there's a debate on whether he's a juvenile Q. I'm going to say the name wrong, but I want to say Trelawney. That's not right, is it?
I was responding to a comment, so I don't know what you're talking about right now.
In the original series, the juvenile Q, or the one that people think might be a juvenile Q, as it was a Trelawney. That's not right.
Q or Charlie X is a kid who's been given Q powers by a Q race.
In the original series, when Kirk and Spock find that guy, and he's the big hand comes up and grabs the Enterprise.
Oh yeah.
What?
And Napoleon is down on the planet.
Yeah, and he's like Napoleon. Trelane.
Yeah.
I know Trelawney was right. Oh, Trelawney was right. No, Trelane, something like that.
So that's another thing. If you watch the original series, so many of them are basically Q episodes. In the first of Run the Franchise, which we've started doing, we're 4 episodes into the original series, and so far assigning half a point or a full point to each episode as to whether or not it's a Q episode. We're at 3 points. So
the thing that I always think about, right, is when I'm watching the original series, is they're obviously visiting episodes that by the Next Generation or later, they're visiting planets that are well within the Federation. Right, later by TNG. Obviously, by TNG, the Federation is much bigger and much more explored. So when I'm watching these episodes, I'm thinking, there's a godlike thing on there, or there's something else on this. I'm thinking all those planets, all these horrific dangers that the Enterprise has come across in the original series, and now like the front garden of the Federation. They're just like, this always like blows my mind. I was thinking like that monster there is now like just up the road, basically. when it comes to Next Generation time.
It's just like gone, or is it like somewhere else?
Well, it's just there. They just don't mention it again.
Okay.
But occasionally they'll come across episodes where there's like they put probes around them and just warn people to stay away. And it's like half the planets must have probes around them. Just go, no, we came here a few years ago and we got kidnapped by Napoleon, and or a sludge monster came up and killed our security officer. Don't come here.
So there's an evil space monster called Napoleon.
Yes, we'll go with that. Whatever. Probably. Okay. If there's enough planets, so why not? Sludge monster made of oil as well, for no reason.
Well, I'm also ecstatic about some space whales. I like me my Star Wars space whales.
The one of the whales is so good. Double dumbass on you too.
Yeah.
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 What a good movie that is.
Yeah.
That's where he says, no, I'm from Iowa. I only work in outer space.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Oh dear. All right, then guys. I do have to call it an evening. But can I say that
I would love to check in on this. I would really love to follow up on your journey, Harris. And I would love to be a part of this is so fascinating to me. I'm really excited for you.
Yeah. No, I'm pumped. We're doing. So we're going to do it a little weird because I guess we're going to do the watch parties for members only and for patrons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we are planning on, I guess, probably editing it down to some degree. It might not be immediately.
Doing like a recap for...
doing a little bit of a recap, tossing in, I guess, what we're talking about with the actual visual stuff for it, without copyrighting ourselves and so on and so forth.
And research episodes while you're watching them and try and get little background info and stuff, because there's loads of it out there now. Little facts, get on the Memory Alpha sites, things, and little tidbits of each episode. So interesting.
I'm thinking Melvin and David might be my Googles while I'm doing it, because they're going to know it already and they're going to be typing in and I can just look over a lot, which would be nice. And everybody else, of course. I just know Melvin and David are they're always here, which is great. There are people.
But you've got an exciting project ahead of you, and
good journey to you, sir.
Good journey to you. I'm glad we're starting around the same time too. I'm hoping mine's not 8 years though. That.
Well, I mean, you could catch up tonight if you really wanted to. So.
Yeah. And you could just skip Discovery Season 1, so that saves you like 10 hours.
Oh wow. Hey, there's some fun. If he's a Star Wars fan, there's kind of some fun Star Wars-y sort of stuff they were trying to do with that first season, especially early in that first season.
Yeah, they were. Stylistically, they were. Yeah. But you've got. I'm just very jealous.
Yeah, right.
I'm
to
looking
be
forward
a grown up, to be a
Yeah.
fully formed human, and finally being able to experience it. Yeah,
That's what I'm excited about. I get to actually digest it,
Yeah.
And
then when you watch The Next Generation, then immediately watch Lower Decks, and you will just appreciate the genius that is that show. And it's not universally loved, but it's so good.
I love that kind of stuff.
It's just a love letter to the next generation. So it's really worth. I wish I'd kind of done that. Watch The Next Generation, then watch Lower Decks again, almost like straight away, because it's just I might have to do that. I'm looking forward to getting Alzheimer's so I can forget all this, so I can watch it all again. I need like a major brain injury or something to like get me through, so I can forget it all and go. I'd be watching Star Trek SG-1 and Enterprise and TNG back to back, just like.
I know we kind of briefly touched on just every freaking fan base. We're not going to stay on it long, but like just the quickly, just that every fan base is divided as can be right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone likes to be divided. I think doing this chronologically will help me kind of not bridge the division or anything like that, but mentally do that in my own head where I don't have to be divided on either side, where it's not like, okay, this is the old stuff, this is the new stuff. I like that it's going to be that ebb and flow a little bit, because then it's just one big story to me. Like Mark was saying, it's just the roadmap. I'm figuring out the roadmap.
Yes, it is sad though that people prefer confrontation to. You'll know that from when we do videos on here. If you do a video about something that is a bit confrontational, you get loads of views.
Even if you're not talking Stargate, someone said, "Stop talking about Stargate. Talk about Star Trek." And I'm like, "I don't know Star Trek." They said, "I know that, but I want you to talk about it." I said, "What to talk about?" Like, yet. I said, "Yet."
Google it. Yeah. But Mark, you'll be back when your show is ready to drop, and tell us about it when you're a bit closer to being ready.
We're getting really close. We've started doing all the little, the smaller shows that are built around it. So we've started doing On This Stardate with Captain Goodwill, where every day we have an under 60-second sort of nerdy tidbit about that date as it involves Star Trek. We've started shooting Star Trek Generations. We're breaking down each minute at a time, so we'll be doing that for the next 2 years. The first minute was the Paramount logo, and all the way to Brent Spiner's credit. So
fantastic.
We spent 20 minutes breaking that down. It was fun.
Did you get to play the Who Owns Paramount this week when you're watching the Star Trek?
We did play that game. When we shot that,
this film. Yeah.
And we're 12 episodes into our podcast, which will launch soon, and it's fun.
Well, you'll send us the links as you're sorted, and then we'll make sure we share them to everybody so everyone can get on, and then we look forward to seeing you next time.
Definitely. You keep
thanks for having me.
Keep everyone posted. Real quick, you just said the minute? Y'all are doing like the shorts aspect of it. The guy doing shorts for the 1 minute.
We're watching Star Trek Generations 1 minute at a time.
Or the guy before that's just doing like the 60 seconds at a time of stuff. Did you say you had a guy? Am I just crazy? Maybe I just misheard. Anyway, I thought you had a guy that was doing like specific.
On the star date or 60-second or less factoids. Cool. October 3rd on this star date. Patrick Stewart was born or whatever.
Oh, cool. Okay. That's cool. Those are exciting. That's just a good way to get people on there. I mentioned it again just because I saw this morning. I don't know if you've seen it yet. YouTube just changed their rules. Shorts are now 1 minute to 3 minutes instead of just the one, which is pretty cool. Stuff to think about. I just thought it'd be cool when you said that.
We started October 1st posting those. The month of September, they were all available on our Patreon. And then our Patreon community decided that we should make it public and bring attention to it. So now, as of October 1st, on X, on Threads, on Instagram, and then when we fully actually launch our YouTube channel, they'll be on there as well. So if you want On This Stardate daily Trek tidbits, find us at search for Trek on the socials.
Send us the link and we'll share it as well on the community page.
Do it,
so people can find you. So excellent. Thank you so much. I'm glad that we have cleansed this heathen. And
as Melvin said, am I about to be baptized in Roddenberry? Is that the way?
Yeah. Or just drowned, one or the other. We'll see how it goes. All that hair will get in the way, and I might hate all that hair. So yeah. That's it. Thank you, Mark, for coming on. It's giving us your time and being the messiah of Star Trek as always. And
that's where you find Mark down there, y'all. We'll put it in the
watching Star Trek.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Good luck, Harris.
Thank you. I'm excited. Daunting, but excited.
It's not hard. You're not climbing Everest. Calm down.
See y'all. Thank y'all.
Bye.
Love y'all. Adios.